Wait for people to join. Hey, hey, hey. Where is everybody? Hey, Johnny, how you doing? Hey, Anecdoodles. Hey, All I Song at you. Hey, Kwame Bo. Hey, people. Thanks for joining. Hey, 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 everybody. Hey, Levelina. Hey, F. Dot. Hey, hey, hey. I'm waving at everyone. Okay. So, I have an amazing guest joining me today. But before I get into all of that, I will bring her on and explain. We are bringing her on. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Muhammida. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? We got the plant action going on, I see.
Yes. Makes the best backdrop.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so before we get going, just want to say hi to everyone that's joined the live. So welcome everyone to Social Sundays with at Ghana365. My name is Raquel Appiah. I'm your host for this live, and I have the lovely, amazing Muhammida El Muhajir joining me on our first live ever on this platform. It is so exciting to have you. Thank you so much. So,
yes, I didn't even realize it was the first one. So great. Okay.
yes, you are. So you're extra special, right? You are opening, this session up for us. So, this one will go down in the books,
All right, good. We're going to make it good. We're going to make it good.
Yeah. So for those who maybe are coming from Muhammida's page, Wax Print Media, this is Ghana365. It's a platform that basically showcases and puts a spotlight on the best of Ghana. We are all about dispelling, the negative stereotypes that sometimes the media can paint about Africa. And we just want to put a spotlight on all the amazing things that is happening on the continent, that's happening in Ghana, and that's happening in the diaspora, which is why we have the awesome Muhammida today. So let's get straight into it. So I'll give a brief bio for everybody watching. So like I said, Muhammida is an absolute powerhouse. She is a global brand and digital marketing and media consultant. She's an entrepreneur. She's a filmmaker, and she's worked all over the world with brands such as Nike, Diesel, PepsiCo, Land Rover, and Sony Japan. And Muhammida, you're also a international speaker. And I've watched your TEDx. Amazing, so inspiring. And I know you've served as a speaker at international arts and educational organizations, including the UN, Brooklyn Museum, Oxford, UC Berkeley, the New School, and Harvard. And I'm sure there's much, much more. And you currently serve as Director of Strategy at Wax Print Media, a West African-based media or digital agency. And you're currently do that residing in Ghana.
Yes, I am.
The accolades just go on and on and on. Super, super amazing to have you here. Thank you so much. So I've read all of that, but I would love to hear from you. What would you say who are you and what do you do?
Okay, well, I mean, I think we heard there's so many things, there was this term that a client of mine used a few years ago, and it was called a slasher. And a slasher was like if you do something slash something else slash something else slash something else, right? So I was like, that is just such the best term because, yeah, I'm a slasher, I definitely would say I am a marketer, so right now I work in digital and brand marketing. I'm into communications and public relations. Definitely one of my side passions is filmmaking. I don't get a lot of time to focus on that, but it's something that, I love doing. I definitely love doing community work. you know, and I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm at any given time, you're gonna see me. I probably have like a list of like 10 business ideas in my head at any one time, and usually like 3 or 4 are happening, you know, in real time. So yes, I guess, I mean, I'll say that.
Yeah, you do all, basically. You do all. Okay, so Muhammida, you aren't of Ghanaian heritage, but you find yourself in Ghana. So where did that come about? How did Ghana come into the picture for you?
I will say this. I have to go back a little bit. So just, you know, growing up, I grew up in the U.S. You know, my parents were very sort of international. You know, they had friends from all over the world, you know. So I never at any point in my life, you know, thought of Africa as being a negative place. I need to start there because most people have like a lot of kind of like baggage to get through before they get to that place, right? So I didn't go through that, right? So there was never a point that I thought it was jungle, that I thought it was horrible. You know, I just thought it was one of the many places in the world to go, right? And the first time I ever came to the continent, I was 15 and I did like a summer abroad in Kenya, right? So like, this is not new. I've been doing this, right? You know, so that, and then I came to Ghana. I first came to Ghana to do a graduate school program.
Yeah.
And it was in international affairs, and I came to Ghana like many years ago. And I always tell people at that trip when I came, I wasn't loving Ghana. Right? I wasn't the hugest fan. Like, things were not the way that they are now, right? There was just not a lot going on in terms of like, you know, where you can just go have a coffee, you know, like you can, you know, no, that was not here. So, and then I was like, my graduate program was quite intense, so I didn't really get to do a lot outside of that, right? So I was here for about 6 months, and I mean, it was okay, but, you know, I was like, yeah. But I went back to the U.S., and then I came back to Ghana like 10 years later, right? And that was in 2013. Now, on this particular trip, I was just coming to Ghana for like maybe like 4 or 5 days, you know, just working on a project. I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to think about moving. That was just like the farthest thing from my mind. But on that trip, so much had changed in Ghana. I was like, oh, it caught me off guard because like I wasn't expecting all that, you know, and it felt good. It felt right. And I was like, oh, you know, and then when I went back, I was like, I think I'm going to move. And then I started looking at how to make that happen. So that's kind of like how it happened.
Okay, I see. So, I mean, what did your family think of this?
Well, again, I told you, I gave you the background, right? So my family, this is like great. You know, they're not like, what are you doing? Like, I've been doing this literally since I was like 15 years old, right? Okay, so for them, this is like normal. They're like, good, go figure this out for us, for all the rest of us, so we can come, you go. So it's like, luckily I have that kind of support, you know, because it's hard when you don't have your family support. So, you know, they're like, yes, whatever you need, go figure this out.
Okay, so between deciding that I'm ready to go and then finally going, what was that gap? How long did it take? Okay, yes. I mean, that is an important one because that's usually the part that's very difficult for people, right? Yeah. I will say this is in my life, I've kind of found that if things fall into place in the right way, then you'll know you're on the right path, right? So, you know, the first thing, even, you know, people come for December or whatever, they're always like, what could I be doing in Ghana? You know, how could I live, right? So same thing. So I just decided to go on LinkedIn. And guys, LinkedIn is your friend. If my niece Jazz is listening, you know, LinkedIn is your friend. So I was like, let me just go on LinkedIn, just kind of look and see what's happening in Ghana, if there are any jobs on there, you know. And then I happened to find this opportunity with this organization called Meltwater, which is a technology training program,
right?
Okay.
And I really wanted to get into tech. I mean, I worked in marketing, but I hadn't done a lot on the digital side, and that was something that I was really interested in. So I
Right.
was like, oh, this is a technology program, and it's in Ghana. This is great, and I could be a fellow. So I had a fellowship, which means I was going to work in the incubator with the tech startups, right? And again, my background is in brand marketing, so that was what I was helping them do. I kind of fast forward. Okay, so I found out about Mest on LinkedIn. I applied to Mest. So this was maybe, I'm going to say, no, I came to Ghana in maybe September or October. I applied to Mest in maybe, I'm going to say November or something. I heard from Mest in January. So I had a round of interviews, probably like 3 or 4 interviews. I don't know, it was a lot. And then in April of 2014, they were like, okay, you're accepted to be a fellow, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, so it wasn't that long. It wasn't that long. And the good thing, so this was a 1-year fellowship, and I figured that if I could come for 1 year, I would see how I felt about it. If I didn't like it, I could just come back. And so it was sort of like my soft landing because, MES provided like accommodations and, I had a workflow and, there were things that were going to be put in place, which is usually very difficult for people finding out where you're going to live. Even though I didn't live in their housing, I got my own housing. But, it was sort of a soft landing, and that worked out really, really well for me. So that's kind of like how it started.
Okay, so you set yourself up well. You didn't just kind of turn up, in Africa and thought, all right, where do we go from here? You found, you found an organization that you could come with. Okay, so I hope you're listening up, people. I hope you're listening up.
Yeah, I know people do it the other way, but that way is just kind of like not my style. I like, even though on the outside people think I'm just kind of like flowing with the wind. I mean, I kind of do a lot of research before I do anything. So yeah,
it's important. Absolutely. Okay, so tell us about Blaxit, because it feels like that's exactly what you have done. Explain the term, please, and what's going on.
I always like to say this because there's like these social media people who get hype on this. So like, I didn't create the term. Okay, I like to say that. I didn't create it. I love it.
As well. It's ridiculous how amped people get about it.
Yes. I'm like, okay, I'm not saying that I came up with it, right? But I feel like it's the perfect term for what I'm doing and what many people are doing and what many people are thinking about doing, right? Just kind of taking a play on the whole Brexit, Great Britain leaving the EU, and then Black people exiting from wherever they are in the world, repatriating back to Africa. So that is sort of the concept. And that is actually the term for a documentary that I'm working on. It's been a little slow in the progress, but and really kind of showing, highlighting some young professionals, because I think generally in the past when you thought about repatriation, it was always like these elder Pan-Africanists, like it was never like the popping bottles at the club. So I was not that, that's what we're showing in the documentary, but I'm just like, there was like these young professionals that I know in my personal network and circle that I'm like, nobody's ever seen this before. Nobody's ever seen the lifestyle that we lead in Ghana. People just don't see that. And I just felt like that was important because these are people who, they're all really intelligent, very qualified, people who could be living wonderful lives in the US or in Europe, right? And they have. Yeah. And they chose to sacrifice that, myself included, and say, hey, I decided to do that. And I just thought that was just such a powerful story. So that's essentially what Blaxit, and it's turning into a movement too. I mean, that was the title of the documentary, but it's kind of turning into like a movement at the same time.
Awesome. And it's amazing. I mean, to be spearheading it, to be one of the, people, leading on that and speaking on it. Like I said, I came across that term on your TEDx talk, and yeah, it was brilliant. And you know, you mentioned that, you know, you had a good job in the US. You know, you're working with great companies, international companies, you're chilling with celebs, so it's like, why would you go to Africa? And there's something you said, that you'd rather be a
A first class citizen, yeah.
In what is perceived as a second world, you know, or a third world country, rather than a second class citizen in a first. Could you just unpack that for me, for somebody that you know,
is living in the first world?
Exactly.
So yeah, I feel like that really sums up my whole experience. You know, I said I would rather be a first-class citizen in the so-called third world or developing world than a second-class citizen in the first world, right? So, you know, they consider Europe, the Western world, America as, you know, first world. I know those terms are like not PC anymore, but, you know, people still say them. So essentially, I mean, you know how it is. You can be the wealthiest person of color in the West, and there are always going to be those times that you are reminded that you are second class, whether it's at a shop, a restaurant, a bank, the police, like whatever it is, there's going to be times, and we are so used to sort of ignoring them and normalizing them that I didn't realize how much it was like a part of my like mentality. Like it's so much a part of our life until I came here on that particular trip, and you're like, something feels different, and you're like, what is it? What is it? And you're like, oh my God, like I'm just like a normal person everywhere I go, you know, restaurants, hotels, whatever, banks, like nobody is acting like there's something wrong with me. I don't have to kind of prove myself at the restaurant, like to the minimum wage waitress, like, or the security guard at the pharmacy. Like, who is he to think that I'm like a thief or something? He's making like $10 an hour, and he's like telling me I've been all over the world and he's gonna follow me when I come into the shop. Like, it's normal, but like, no. Like, soon as I saw what it felt like to not live like that, I could never go back. I couldn't go back.
So deep. That is so deep. It's crazy how much we are holding on to subconsciously, and we don't even realize that, how much we've accepted, how much we've allowed, I guess. And so I completely understand. It's liberating. It's so liberating when you get to go to places like Africa. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I mean, okay, Ghana is now just sounding like heaven. So
well, I hate to do that because I know people get like freaked out. I'm like, oh no, I'm not saying that it doesn't have problems, because you know it's Ghana still. But to me, like, I guess it also depends where you are in your life when the pros outweigh the cons. I think it's that. Definitely we know. I mean, even on the, before we spoke on the call today, I was like, I hope the lights don't go out, right? And that's very real. And you're like, it's 2020. Why are the lights going out? Why can't this be figured out? You know? So there are definitely things, you know, I'm not trying to paint it like it's this utopia, but, you know.
So what are the other challenges you face in Ghana? Apart, so you've mentioned electricity, light off, you know, could go. What other challenges do you face?
Let me say this. Everybody who knows me in Ghana knows that I'm just like not the person that complains, because usually people who have lived outside, when they get together, they have like this bitch fest. And I'm like, I'm not the one. I'm going to chop down all your complaints, every single one. Because for me, I know what it's like outside, right? I mean, I felt like I was at a very high level, you know, of business, everything. And I was there, I was in those circles, and it doesn't feel great. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter if you're flying first class, business class, like that feeling just does not feel good. So because I'm here and I don't have that feeling, I feel like I can accept most of the challenges, right? Of course, you know, but I kind of accepted it. I understand that it's not the West. It's not the US. It's not Europe. It is Ghana. It is Africa. Like, you have to understand that, right? And you also know that it's 60 years old, right? You know, America is only like 200 and something years. So imagine they became independent in 1776. 60 years from that was like 1840s or something. That was 60 years. We're still just like 60 years, right? I mean, people put a lot of pressure on it, but most African countries, I mean, Ghana's the furthest along than everyone. So, I mean, in terms of independence, but, you know, so you got to kind of know that it's not there yet. People like, we're like, they should be doing this and they should be doing that. Okay, it's gonna take time. Like, you know.
So you just put things in context, basically.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and I try to encourage people to do that because they're like, you know, why the customer service and all this corruption and like just all these things. And I'm like, hey, just, you know, get into the flow. Once you're in the flow of it, then changes can be made. But you just can't come here like a, you know, a storm, just trying to like make changes because, you know, it won't happen.
Yeah, it really is a mindset thing. It really is a mindset thing. You're absolutely right. Okay, so we may not experience race discrimination, right, in Ghana, but there's definitely a class system. And with us flooding back, my worry is that what happens to the people, the locals, because we have privilege, right? And they may not, you know, are we now going to be beating them to certain jobs? Are we driving up prices because we've got more money? How does that whole dynamic work? And what can we do to help so that as we're all flooding back, you know, they're getting lifted as well. They're enjoying the prosperity, you know, the money that's now coming into the country.
Yeah, when you say like jobs and stuff like that, I mean, for most, I mean, there are few, let me just be clear, there are very few international kind of jobs, right? So when all the people from the West are like, you know, what can I do in Ghana? Okay, this is not that kind of place. There are probably like 20 jobs that pay international salaries, right? And other than that, it's going to be a Ghanaian salary, right? So most people from the West cannot really live on that, meaning if you have like a master's degree, you could be working at a bank and making like 3,000 Ghana cedis, which is a good salary in Ghana, which is what, like 600 pounds or something? I mean, you know what I mean? So I'm sorry, we're not going to be taking those jobs. Like, you know, most people, so most people who come are more on job creation, right? We're creating businesses and we're creating opportunities. Like that's pretty much like, if you're not prepared to do that, then you just have a really nice nest egg of savings and you can just come and relax here. If not, you have to be ready to get dirty, put in work, start business, train people, you know, and that's what everybody's doing. That's what the Chinese are doing. That's what the British are doing. That's what the French and Italians, they are all doing that. So I don't know why we think somehow it's going to be easier for us. No, it's not. You got to get dirty, but it's like at the beginning. So those who get dirty are going to, like, you know, reap the benefits at a later stage.
Okay. So tell us about, you know, your enterprise, what you're doing.
Okay, so I run Wax Print Media, which is a digital marketing and PR agency. So I work with companies to really help them build awareness, sales, leads, things like that using digital platforms. So we help them with social media, with content generation, with digital ads, PR, things like that. So I will say this, when I came to Ghana, that wasn't what I thought I was going to be doing, right? And I think that's important to note too, for most people coming from outside, like whatever idea you have outside, you better come here and just sit for like 6 months and see if that is really viable, right? Because the funny thing is, once you get here on the ground, then you start seeing all sorts of random business ideas that you would have never thought of if you weren't here. So I think that's key, because it's hard. Like, people are trying to ask me, what can they get into when they're not here? I'm like, I suggest you come. You know, I know everybody can't do that, but I don't know. I just feel like it's hard to tell you. You got to like come and see, right? Yeah. So I think that is key. I think I got off subject. You were asking something.
No. You've answered it spot on. So because obviously you came to Ghana first with
my business. Right. Okay, yes, that's what I was telling you. So I did the fellowship for 1 year, right?
Yes.
So after 1 year, I was like, I think I can give it like a little more time just to see how I'm vibing. Maybe it's 2 years. Maybe I need 2 years to see, you know? So I actually got a job, you know, and I was crying at the salary, right? Because it was like a Ghanaian salary. It was a good Ghanaian salary, but it was a Ghanaian salary, right? And I have a friend, and she's the one who like always like kind of hypes me on Ghana. Like even when I went to graduate school here, she was coming and she loved it. And I was like, really? So she still lives here. She's lived here like 15 years, right? And she was like, listen, take the job. I know it's not a lot of money, but you will figure it out, right? And I give that same advice to everybody. I'm like, take the Ghana money job. What it did for me is it helped me to understand business in Ghana. It helped me to understand who's who in the business world in Ghana, how they interact with each other, like all these things that honestly, that saved like 3 to 5 years of me just coming from outside trying to set up a business. There's so many things that I understood. I am so grateful that I did that. I took
How long were you doing that for?
I did that for about 9 months.
That's good.
And that was pretty much all the time that I needed. Yeah, that was enough. Yeah. But that was needed. Anybody, I would just say, whatever business you're coming, if you could do that, you know, even for a short time, a few months, it would help you so much. I mean, I had a staff that I was managing of probably like 10 or 15 people. I mean, it helped me to like, kind of like work through the cultural differences.
Exactly.
You know, just so many things that prepared me for starting my business when I did start it. So that was really key.
Yeah. So was it after the 9 months you then started Wax Print Media?
Well, I started doing consultancy on my own, so it wasn't immediate to straight to Wax Print Media, but then shortly after I started Wax Print Media. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And you haven't looked back since.
Right. I haven't looked back. And I mean, I almost approached it a bit experimental, meaning that I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I didn't know, what clients I was going to end up getting. But one thing that kind of differentiated me from all the other companies is that I did have a kind of entree into the sort of expat world, right? Yeah. So even right now, the majority of my companies and my clients are expat companies who operate in Ghana. Right. Because you brought up something earlier, you talked about, the class system, there's tribalism, there's all these things that I actually don't really deal with because I'm not dealing, I do have some Ghanaian clients. I mean, I definitely do. But I could see how it could affect businesses. A Ghanaian company, as soon as you come, they're looking at your name, where you from, what family, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot that is real. Like, that is so real. But because I'm kind of outside of that and I'm dealing with other businesses who are outside of that, it doesn't affect me as much, but I know it affects people, right? Those are the types of things that are challenges. But if you can figure out a way around them, then, you're better off. So, just kind of definitely started from the ground up. I mean, I had one staff person who was working in my living room before we got an office. I just wanted to just really be very smart about how I approached my business here. And it has really worked. I mean, even I started out, I didn't want to like charge some like crazy exorbitant prices. I just wanted to keep it moderate so I got the good clients. So if you say, who's your clients? And I say, Jaguar, Land Rover, KLM, Air France, Pernod Ricard, Remy Martin, you're like, okay, all right, it's legit, right? So I just kind of thought about it in a very smart way and built it just brick by brick by brick. So it's about 3 years now. I think we're just hitting the 3-year mark, and it's still growing, but I feel like we are at a good place.
Fantastic. I think any business that can survive COVID is a viable business. So.
Yes, I wasn't really sure how that was going to be, but one thing that has happened is because I work in the digital space, companies start realizing that they have to connect with their consumers online, because that's where we are right now, so that really helps. That's the nature of my business. So just helping them, build their online profiles and connect with consumers online, that's the work that we do. So even some people who were kind of brushing it off in the past, now they know more than ever digital is the way to go. So that's been good. So I wasn't sure how COVID was going to affect most of my staff. I didn't have to lay off anyone. They started working part-time and from home. And so that's how we've been working, making it through these past few months.
Fantastic. How do you motivate your staff? Could you give us some tips on keeping staff engaged, avoiding high staff turnover, and just, maintaining, good, high quality staff?
Yes. Well, I mean, again, I think the time that I spent at the company, that I worked with after the fellowship, in that company, we probably had about 100 staff people. Wow. So that prepared me. Like, all I can say is that prepared. I understood, like, the level of output that workers were going to be coming with. I mean, I just knew I was going to be starting from really zero. So, but I realized if I could get someone who was smart and loyal, right? Those are the two qualities that I look for now. If you are smart and you are loyal, then I can train you in the way that I like my business to be done, right? I already know I'm not going to get people who are at the level. Just, you got to know that. You got to accept that. Yes. They could be college graduates, they could be an MBA, but if you haven't had that kind of international experience, I mean, you just won't, how can they have it, right? But if you're smart, and I have like an amazing staff, and I think they see me, how I work, right? Like, I don't look down on any of them, right? I don't look down on any clients. I think that's another key thing, that coming here with humility. If you do not do that, Ghanaians will shut you down. They will not argue with you like, maybe how they might in Nigeria or something. But if you talk a certain way to a Ghanaian person, they'll be like, oh, mental note. And the next time they don't have nothing to say to you, you'll be like, so I feel like that is another key thing. Like, when you're coming from outside, you got to come with humility. They do things in a different way. That doesn't mean they're less. It doesn't mean they're stupid. It's just done in a different way, right? Yeah. So I think, my staff see that. They see that I don't look down on anyone. They see if anything needs to be done. If it needs to be swept, I mean, if whatever to get the job done, that's what I'll do. So they, follow in that. And then I can tell right away if somebody doesn't fit in the flow, because I worked at top companies. I need things done in a certain kind of way. And my clients are mainly international clients. So they hire me because they need it done in a certain way. So that's how I expect you to do it. Come on, you got to step it up. And it's very fast paced. And, I don't coddle adults. So you came to work, we have a good time, we have an amazing time, we work with big brands and celebrities, and we do all that here in Ghana. So if you work with me, you're going to have an amazing experience, but you're going to work hard. Yeah. So they all know that, but they're getting training. I mean, when anybody leaves me, I feel like I'm running a business, but I'm also running like a training program. Like, whoever leaves me, they can go work at any place in the world, and they will have it down. So that's kind of even like some like giving back at the same time,
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Beautiful. Okay, so I just want to acknowledge some of the comments that have been coming through.
Okay.
And we've had some questions coming through, guys. If you have any questions, if you can just put it in the question box instead of the comments, because it's really hard to follow, but I have been trying to follow. I did see a question come through that said, where are the top 5 areas to buy or invest in property in Ghana?
See, again, that's one of those questions like, what kind of work should I do and where should I buy land, that you kind of have to get here. The reason I say that, right? Yeah. What do you want to do with the land? Is it to live? Is it to do agriculture? Do you want beachfront? Like, you know what I mean? Like, those are kind of questions. Is it for investment? So once you kind of answer those, then I think you can give people an idea of what they're looking for. But generally, people ask me that question all the time, and I'm like, what do you want to do with the land? Is it for real estate investment? Do you want to have a retirement home? Do you want to have a farm? You know, so depending on that, that will determine where the best place is. I would say that.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Well, for that person who asked the question as well, Ghana Property Expo is here. So feel free to get at them. They are in the chat, they are here. So Ghana Property Expo actually was just adding to one of your comments that you made about some of the, you know, the issues or the challenges that you may face within the, you know, the working world. And they just said that there's so many layers, even sexism towards women in business too. So have you experienced that at all?
I think as a woman anywhere in the world, I mean, guys, it's a patriarchal society in Africa, in America, in Europe. It is powerful men run everything, right? And we are all their subjects. So like those things are going to happen. I haven't felt it to the extent that it's, you know, blocked me out of any business. There are a few times when I felt like, even recently, I would say, where, you know, it looked like maybe my business was doing really well. I mean, people don't see my numbers, but, and I saw, you know, some other people want to like partner with me. I'm gonna use that term partner because I felt like it was kind of like a takeover. And I was like, oh my God, is this, am I getting mafia? So, you know, there are things that I'm sure they were like, this girl, she's got that company, she's got those clients. I need a part of that, right? Yeah. So, you know, these things happen, but I mean, I haven't felt those things to the point that it's going to stop me from doing business, or, you know what I mean? So yeah, I just think that as a woman, pretty much anywhere in the world, that is going to be an issue. I worked in corporate America. It's an issue, like, you know, so. Yeah.
It's no different, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people might, I personally, I mean, I've been here for 6 years. I don't see it. I mean, it's bad. Like, sexism is just bad everywhere, right? I mean, it's bad. I don't want to sugarcoat that at all. Yeah. But I would just say that, you know, I'm working through that, and it hasn't stopped me or blocked me, but I don't want to act like it doesn't exist, so.
I understand. Do you have any tips from when you were in the US to now? How do you deal with it?
You know what? I think having a certain awareness that it exists. So when things happen, you're not like blindsided. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, yes. To be honest, it's almost the norm. If you are a woman who have got to a certain level in your career and you haven't experienced it, oh my God, you are so lucky. And it's rare, because I would say probably 90-something% of any woman who has gotten to a certain level in her career, has experienced it, right? Absolutely. So, you know, if you let that stop you or shut you down, I mean, I guess you just stay in the house or something, right? But you figure out ways to respond. You figure out ways to hold your body. You figure out ways to dress. Like, you know, all these things that women have to kind of like manage, which is crazy, but those are things, you know, we have to figure out. I mean, of course, people, you know, hit on you, flirt with you, you know, sometimes make you feel like you have to do certain things to get business. And that's the other thing, because I'm here, like, to be honest, it's not like it's a hobby. I don't mean to say it like that, but the money, so if I get a client and they're paying 5,000 CDs for something, right, which they will act like they're doing me a big thing. For the same project in America, I would have gotten $5,000, like the exact same project, right? So here, I can take things when I need it. Like, you know, I don't feel pressure. Like, I'm sorry, this money is so little. I love the work that I'm doing, but it's not like I'm going to be like some millionaire doing this, right? Yeah. So I can, like, if any kind of energy is off with any client, if they're talking a certain kind of way to me or anything, I can just decide not to do it. I don't have that pressure on myself to just take on anything just because, like, no, I won't.
Good.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, so the questions are coming in now in the question box. So we're just going to get them up now. Let's see. I've just selected it. Can you see it?
Okay, yep. Do you ever see yourself moving back to the US, and why not? I will say no, I don't see that. And the reason being, like, whenever I go to the US, I usually go 2 or 3 times a year, except for 2020. I mean, we know why. And I have this level of anxiety. I mean, I don't even know why. And everything that's happening now, I'm like, this is what I feel. I always feel like something is going to happen. I don't know what that thing is, but and I don't feel calm until I get on the plane. Like, so I can stay for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. And I just feel like, even when I go to restaurants, I mean, I was doing, cool things at Soho House, all the things. And I was like, nah, Ghana life is still better. That's how I am in my life. That's where I feel right now.
Wow.
So, and I would also like to say, imagine if we were on a plantation, right? I feel like I escaped to freedom.
Absolutely.
You don't go back. I mean, you go back like Harriet Tubman to get some people, but yeah, I'm not going back.
I love that. I love that.
So that's how I feel. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen, but it's not in my mind that I feel like, oh, I'm going to move back to the US in the next 2 years. No, I don't feel that.
Wait. Okay, wait. Tell me, are you the type that if you have a health concern, you go back to the US, or do you get it looked at on the ground?
I know that is an issue, right? But I mean, I found like, how this is Ghana, so things is about money at the end of the day, right? Like, so, I mean, I go to certain clinics or doctors, once you find the right ones, I feel like that's pretty much life here anyways. Like, you got to find the right things. You got to know where to go shopping. You got to know where to do this.
Right.
And if you find that, life can be decent, right? Okay. But luckily, let me knock on wood, I haven't had any major health concerns that couldn't be dealt with, in Ghana. So
yeah. Because I mean, we have it here. So many people moving out, and then they'll come here to have their babies. Yeah. But I guess that's also not just for health. I guess to sort out papers and things like that. So
immigration,
residency and things like that.
Yeah.
So okay, cool. We'll get the
but
next
I know
one.
that is an issue. A lot of people, that's a concern for a lot of people. What I would say, come here, research, find the right doctors for you, your children, or whatever, and and see how that goes, and you could be okay.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Do you think learning the main languages is essential?
I would say yes. I have not done a great job of that. So. I mean, I could, I can understand Tree a bit and, speak some basic things. I want to do better. I mean, but I guess in most of my interactions, most people speak English, which doesn't make it easy to, understand the language. And, to force me, because, you go somewhere where everybody's speaking a foreign language, you're going to get it. You have to. But here, most people I interact with, speak English, and in Ghana, they go between the two all the time, in between their languages, which some other places, like if you go to Nigeria, they don't, like you won't hear their the local languages like on TV or radio so much, but in Ghana, even the English language station, they'll be going back and forth. It's important, but you'll be fine if you don't. If you live in Accra. Now, I don't know if you move to Kumasi or some other places, or Tamale or something like that, you probably need to learn those languages, whatever it is they're speaking in those places. But in Accra, you can get by,
on English.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, next question. Is there a them and us culture developing Ghana? The nationals versus non-national diaspora?
I'm really going to say, we talked earlier about the kind of mentality that you have, right?
Yeah.
I'm in Ghana. I feel like I'm team Ghana. Like, I don't feel like, that's like my approach. Like, people are like, you foreigner? I'm like, no, I'm not, right? Yeah. Like, so I don't have that kind of experience. And I would say that most of the people who I interact with, most of my, close network of friends are actually Ghanaians, right? They all lived outside, you know, so we have that common sort of experience. But I don't hang with a lot of Americans. I mean, I just feel like if I wanted to do that, I would have stayed in America. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, but there are people who do that. They come and they're in, you know, their
Cliques.
little neighborhoods and cliques of
Yeah.
people of this their same, you know, culture. But so I don't really see it so much as us and them. I know that is real because even like, you know, Ghanaians come back and they just have to be prepared for this. Like people are going to treat you a certain kind of way that, you know, you're less Ghanaian or, you know, something. I mean, just be prepared. You guys, you'll get through that. Like, so that shouldn't be like a major hurdle that's going to stop you. I mean, it's going to happen. It happens to Indians when they go back to India, you know, and they've been raised in the West. It happens to Chinese and like, you know, it's just something that happens. So it shouldn't be something that stops you. Okay, we can't. I feel like people are kind of always looking for these little reasons to not do it. That's going to happen, but that's going to happen. It happens to Jamaicans when they go back home and they've not lived there in X number of years. I mean, it's just what happens. So
yeah. And I what I loved, what you said earlier was that you don't engage in the kind of the complaining. You know, when a group of, you know, expats come together and are like, oh, this, it's like, hello, this is where we've come from. That it's only been 60 years of freedom. It's a new country. And I think if we can all be like that, it would avoid, you know, this kind of divide and this type of, you know, us and them kind of mindset. So I'm definitely taking that away because it's so easy, you know, when you come you know, from the Western world and be like, why can I get this? Or why are they like this? And it's so easy. You don't even mean, you don't even see what you're doing, but you're absolutely right that, look, this is the stage that we're at and it's up to us, you know, to make the changes. It's for us to do because we're leaving it to others like the Chinese, you know, who are not going to, you know, reinvest when they do benefit from the development and growth. So I've definitely taken that away. Okay. Another question. We have, what's the top 3 tips for transitioning to Ghana/Africa?
Okay. I thought about this a little bit, and I think, interestingly enough, what's happening in the world right now is actually a good preparation for life in Ghana and Africa. And what I mean by that is that now it's this uncertainty that everyone in the world is experiencing, right? So when you live in the West, there's certainties that you know what time the tube is going to come, you know what time like there are things that work and these systems. Now everything is thrown up in the air. And funny enough, that's just how life is in Ghana anyway. Like, you know what I mean? That it's this uncertainty that is just normal, and you live with it. And, you know, so I feel like accepting that is something that's key. And like never before, like, you know, people didn't have, I mean, there are people who are queuing at markets in London and New York right now, like, you know, not right now, but, you know, during the lockdown, right? So there are all these things. It actually prepares you for life in a place like this, right? So just be prepared for uncertainties, right? You know, I would say be patient. Like, your business is not going to jump off as fast as you think. It's not, you're not going to buy that land as fast as you think. You're not going to build that house as fast. Like everything that you think the time frame, it's going to be probably like 2 or 3 times longer. So just be prepared and be patient, right? I would say humility. I touched on that. I think that's very key. It doesn't matter that you studied in Germany or Switzerland and, you know, Harvard or whatever. There are times that you're going to have to get local. I mean, you know, there are times you got to just bring it down to the level of the people and be prepared for that. Like, just, you know, you kind of got to go with the flow. And I think that is really key. I mean, I would probably put that to the top, that level of humility. You're in another country, another culture. They don't have to adapt to you. You've got to adapt to them.
Yeah.
right? Like, yes.
That is so key. That is so key, because when we do go out there, because we are coming sometimes, because we're coming and we know that we are privileged, we expect
Yeah.
them to adapt to us,
Yeah.
actually. So that is
Mm-hmm.
so key what you've said there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
key.
Yeah.
Such a great insight. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. And the last thing I would say,
Yeah.
be prepared to pay bribes when necessary.
Oh,
You,
like that.
I mean, that is real life, man. That is real life. And yeah, not all the time, but there are times that you're like, okay, I could pay 50 CDs, which is probably like a few pounds or dollars, and this thing will be done today.
Yes.
And like, or I can be like, I'm not done, and okay, go ahead. And we'll see what happens in 3 months from now, right? So, you don't have to make it like just a practice, but dude, that's a part of life here. So, yeah.
For you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next one. Do you think work-life balance is easily achieved?
I think anyone who's coming from like a major city, it's not easily achieved, right? You have to like put some effort into structuring your life. I mean, Accra is a cosmopolitan city, so if you're moving to Accra, you're gonna have the same challenge as any kind of cosmopolitan city. If you move to Koforidua or somewhere, or like Aburi, or Elmina or something like Cape Coast, like it's going to be different. The flow is going to be different. There's not going to be as many distractions and things to do. So it's really about how you want to live your life and kind of setting yourself up for that. And Accra is just as difficult as any major city. I will definitely say that. I know there are days I am like so tired and I'm like, what? What is going on?
Yeah.
But if I wanted to live a different kind of way in more a rural setting or something,
yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I would definitely say that.
Okay. Another question we've had come through. Mm-hmm. Auntie Moo.
Oh, hi.
What's been your biggest, is that your niece? Oh,
yes.
So cute. What's been your biggest current challenge with work?
I would say, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm running basically a startup, it's in the 3rd year of business. It's a consultancy based business, which means I'm always chasing new clients, payments from clients. So I mean, that is challenging. And, people not paying on time, affects the funds that I have available to pay my staff, so I would say that is definitely, a major challenge. And yeah, I would say that, because some of the other things I was a bit prepared for, but that's something that is like a stress, just every month I'm like, did I make enough money to pay everybody? So I would say that.
Okay. Are there any things that you are doing to work around those things now that you know that, okay, they may not pay on time, so maybe I'm going to take more up front, or does that not work, or how does it?
Yeah, no, now, I mean, I have been doing that lately, where it's definitely a mandatory, like 50%, that they have to pay up front. So with a few clients, they were reluctant to do that. But again, I said like how I am now. I'm just like, okay, I'm not like, okay. I want the people who want to work with me, who understands the value in my work, and they're willing to kind of like, play by these rules. So that has been helpful, definitely. I didn't start out taking like an advance all the time, but now I have to do that. So that it's been better.
I hear you. Okay, so questions are still coming through, but we've only got 5 minutes left.
Okay.
And we have a quick fire round.
Okay.
Of questions. Just some fun questions that we wanted to throw at you. So we're going to start on that. So I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question, guys. But this part is important and it's fun.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So what is your most used Ghanaian word or phrase?
Oh, okay. Oh, minchi tree. Like, you know, somebody will be talking tree to me and I have to tell them that I don't hear it. I don't understand it. So that's probably the one that I have to say the most.
That's funny. That is funny. I need to learn that.
Yes, because, you know, I mean, I love it. If I'm walking around, people are just going to assume that I'm from here, which I love, you know,
yeah.
so.
Okay. What's your favorite place ever in Ghana?
Okay, so my favorite place is my friend has a bar lounge in Ada called Norman's Folly, which is this like little cigar bar, water sports, Thai restaurant. I mean, it's just like this crazy mix, but it is like my favorite place in Ghana. It's my favorite thing to do.
Love it, love it. Okay. If you could bring one celebrity to Ghana for a week, who would it be and why?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, like, okay. So right now, they're coming. They're all, I mean, I don't even have to do anything.
It's
They're
true.
like, it's the hottest thing out
It's so true.
right now. But I mean, I would definitely, I mean, so we saw like Beyonce did, you know, her album, but she hasn't like spent time. Like, I want everybody to come. I just want everybody to come and feel this experience for once in their life. Like, we don't have to be fighting and battling every single day. But I would say like Jay-Z and Beyonce, because if they do anything, everybody else is like, okay, then that's the cool thing. So, yeah. But everybody is coming. I mean, the year of return was last year. I mean, we saw so many celebrities, political people. So it's happening. I mean, it's not.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's not going to stop. I feel like it's just going to keep going.
Okay, so what is your favorite Ghanaian food?
Oh, okay. So I'm a vegetarian, well, pescatarian. I do eat fish. So okay. I like all the vegetable dishes. I like consommé, garden egg stew. I would say those. I mean, I eat the soups too. I'm not like the biggest fufu fan. Sorry, guys. I will eat it when I have to, but I know. Sorry, I said it. I will eat it if I have to, but
I forgive you.
I eat more of the stews. I mean, I eat all Ghanaian food. Like I love spicy food, so I'm like this place is perfect for me.
Okay. All right, fantastic. We'll let you off. If you eat pepper, we'll let you off. Because,
I eat pepper, plenty pepper. Good. That's what we like to hear. Well done.
Okay, what's the one thing you would bring to Ghana if you could?
Oh, Mexican food. I love Mexican food. So even though the funny thing is, I find that the Ghanaian food is a bit similar, like all the peppers, the green pepper, the red pepper, the black pepper, like in Mexican food, you know, they've got all those different salsas, you know, so I found like there are some similarities. But yeah, I miss Mexican food. Yeah.
You've just given a business idea to anybody watching.
Yes.
You've just given a business idea. So guys, run with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we literally are going to get locked off in about a minute. Okay. So I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us today. We've learned so much. You have inspired us, challenged us. And I'm sure a few of us, you know, as soon as the borders are open, we'll be trying to get down to Ghana if they're not open already.
Yeah,
I'm hoping to come down for Christmas.
Yes. I think next week they're opening. So definitely, if people have questions, if they go, I mean, I can come onto the page and answer them. I'm at Wax Print Media. I also have a website for my film, Blaxit.Africa. So you can sign up and get on our newsletter as well. But definitely follow us at Wax Print Media to see some of the amazing, to see some of the amazing projects that we do, and just really kind of showing the luxury lifestyle in Ghana. We didn't touch on that a lot, but That's the work I do. And I just want people to come and feel like you can actually have a real holiday. You don't have to struggle. I think people before thought when they came to Ghana or Africa it was going to be a hard life. Not anymore. You can just have like that same luxury sort of experience when you come here.
Love it, love it, love it. And then with us also, if you've come from my page or if you've come from Muhammadima's page, please check out www.ghana-365.com. Check out at ghana.365 and stay in touch with all of us, and let's keep the conversation going. It looks like we might need a part 2 so we can hear more about this luxury lifestyle.